Mr. President, thank you so much for your time. So, first of all, you have met various stakeholders today and discussed a lot of stuff, but mainly one of the main issues is the Constitution and constitutional changes. Since 1995, we have made a lot of amendments in our constitutions, and a lot of them were political ones, and sometimes it was also the personal interests to change some constitutional, to bring some constitutional amendments. Do you have a feeling that we need some fundamental rethinking of constitution, approach towards the constitution? Do we need some kind of civil agreement around the main pillars of the constitution here in Georgia?
You were right when you said that since 1995, after the adoption of the first constitution following the independence of Georgia, there were some amendments, and I can say that this is one reason why the present revision is not really indispensable. The second reason is that since '93, the Venice Commission is cooperating with Georgia for different constitutional reforms, and myself, I remember very vividly, I came here the first time in '93 when the Constitutional Commission, under the guide of Demetrashvili, drafted, with the help of the Association of Young Lawyers, the first draft. Since then, we have regularly cooperated with Georgia in many fields, but especially also in the constitutional field. I can say that these two arguments are good reasons to say that the Constitution of Georgia is a good constitution, but is not a perfect one. And indeed, after the last revision in 2010, the Venice Commission made some comments welcoming the turn towards a parliamentary republic from a presidential system, but at the same time the Commission said that there should be some improvements because there were still some part of the Constitution which could be better, of course. And there was a first initiative during last legislature in the framework of the Uzupashvili Commission for the constitutional reform. Unfortunately, this attempt failed. Now the Parliament and the Speaker, and I think also the other stakeholders, are in favor for a new revision, and we are also in favor and ready to continue our good cooperation with Georgia.
Why I'm asking about the wider agreement around the main pillars of the Constitution, even at least to prevent this changing every time when we are changing the government. Every time we change the government, we are also changing the Constitution. Maybe this wider agreement around the main pillars could prevent this kind of approach.
I'm used to say that a constitution, which is the fundamental law of a country, is not like a shirt that you change every day. But when necessary, when this is required, especially by the society, taking into account the evolution of the society, you should and you could change the constitution. This time, I will not link this revision with what you are rightly saying. It happens with changing of governments. But this time, I'm again in agreement with this revision because most probably it will achieve to a better constitution for Georgia, more in conformity with European standards.
Have you discussed with the head of the parliament particular amendments in Constitution today?
We have discussed many things with the President of the Parliament, the Speaker, and I can say that we agree on many issues. which need some amendments. There are several fields, the electoral legislation, the election of the President of the Republic, the more independence to the judiciary, a better role for the High Council of Justice, a better balance between the power, the competences of the President and the Parliament and the Executive, because now we are in a parliamentary republic. So there is matter for some good changes. And what is important to know that I had the feeling during my discussions all the day today that there could be a good consensus for an improvement of the Constitution. The President, the head of state, said, and I agree with him, it's a matter of fine-tuning. This is what we should do.
So you also hope that they will get your recommendations in charge?
Exactly, and this is first time when a speaker of a parliament committed himself, but not personally, but on behalf of the parliament, that any amendment will be passed without the agreement of the Venice Commission. He knows, and I think all Georgians know, because we are quite well known in Georgia, in your country, that Venice Commission is an impartial, neutral body. We are not in favor of one party or another. For us, the most important thing is that this country, which I love a lot, I feel at home when I'm in Georgia, have a very good constitution. It's already good, but very good constitution, which will favor a better development, social, economic, and political development.
Another issue that is much discussed is the electoral code, and you have a meeting with an opposition today. Was it discussed with you, the electoral code, in terms of majoritarian system, in terms of this proportional system, changing the code, that opposition was requiring to change it before the elections 2016?
Yes. I mentioned this issue with all my interlocutors today. In my opinion, and it is also the opinion of the Venice Commission, which made some recommendations years ago, a new electoral system would be better for Georgia, and we expressed our sympathy, I would say, for a proportional regional system, because the present system produces a too strong majority, yes, which is legitimate because the people vote following this system, and one party or a coalition gets a lot of seats in the parliament, etc. The elections in this country.
Even constitutional majority.
Yes, even more. In this country, elections are free and fair, and I would congratulate the Georgians for this. So everything is legitimate, but I think that a too strong majority is not good for democracy. It could go well for some time, but you never know what could happen in the future. So even for the winning parties, because there is an alternance. Today you win, next day you will lose. Yes. So in the interest of everybody, a more balanced electoral system would be better.
So, and finally, the last question for today, for instance, the one of the most discussed issues is also the reform in the judiciary system, this so-called third wave of the judiciary system reform. And have you discussed it with the Minister of Justice? Of course you did, but what is your recommendations? These particular changes, this particular reform is somehow paused right now.
I discussed this issue with the Minister of Justice, who is in favor of a reform of the judiciary, going in towards more independence for the judiciary, for the judges,
yes, and efficiency.
Yes, exactly, and a better role for the High Council of Justice. The President also is in favor and would like to see a better trust of the people, the Georgians, towards the judiciary.
Thank you so much.